I want to ask this question, and because it came up yesterday, but I also talked to some men about it afterward. You know how women, and not all, all right? But how most women tend to turn children away from their fathers? I've never heard of a father turning his children away from the mother. Have anybody ever heard of that? I don't think I never hear that. I've never heard that a father turned his children. He seemed to want to share his children with his wife or with the mother. Even in a divorce case, or I know a father who has been fortunate enough to get their children in divorce cases, and they still want to make sure that the kids see the mothers. But so I've never really heard that. Yes, ma'am.
My husband tried to turn the children against me.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. Especially when he lives with women.
Uh-huh.
And
he lived with another woman?
Yeah, well, he's had a few. And he was talking real bad about me, my daughter said. And my daughter stopped him and told him, I don't want to hear that about my mom because she doesn't mention anything about you.
Right.
She doesn't say anything negative about you. So he was surprised that I didn't, talk about him. But at the beginning I did, until I realized I was wrong. And I apologized to them. Yeah. Told them I was trying to turn them against their father.
Right.
And so ever since then I hadn't done that, but he's doing it.
Right.
And I apologize for me in the beginning hating him so much and trying to put him against him.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of things were true, but it wasn't my place to say it. It should have just...
And especially it wasn't your place to hate him for it.
That's true.
We never, ever have an opportunity to hate anybody for anything that they do. Now, we don't have to accept it. We can protect ourselves from it. But we don't have an opportunity to hate anybody for anything. And a lot of people feel justified in their hatred.
Right. But I used to justify it because he used to beat me up brutally.
Yeah.
And so I hated him for that. But
why did you stay with him if he was that bad?
I didn't know where to go. I didn't have nowhere to go, and I had no faith that God would take care of me and my kids. Mm. So I had a hate and love relationship with him.
That's why you stayed.
That's why I stood.
Not because you didn't have anywhere to go.
I couldn't make it on my own.
Because of that love-hate relationship.
Right.
A love-hate relationship would keep you there.
Right.
It really would.
It did me for 18 years.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of women say, well, I stayed with him because I didn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
You do have somewhere to go.
Yeah, if I had.
But they don't say, I stayed with him because I have a love-hate relationship with him. I'm addicted to him. Yeah. I can't live with him. I can't live without him. And that's why it's so important not to hate, because it will addict you to whatever it is you hate. You'll find yourself becoming attracted to it.
Right.
That's another reason not to hate. Why do you think you said I didn't have anywhere to go rather than saying I was addicted to it?
Because I never thought I could make it on my own with my kids. I didn't have an education. I thought I had to depend on him for everything.
Oh, okay.
And
are you over that hatred now?
It's less and less. I could be in the same room with him and I say hi.
Right.
He still don't talk to me too much, but he wants to come. I could see it, that he gets close to me and my daughters.
Right.
And he wants to, but the other woman is always there in back of him.
Always that woman, huh? She won't let it happen. Yeah. Were you close to your father?
I never knew my father until I was grown up, and he's the one that took me to meet my father. And my aunts used to tell us that he used to cry for us every night and that he loved us so much, but he used to be an alcoholic, and he was also with another woman that had a daughter my same age, but she died.
Right.
And I went to see him, and when I went to see him, I seen the stranger, and I went to ask him where this address was, and that was my father. And he said, well, that's my address, and I'm that person.
Wow.
But he didn't hug me or anything. I expected to hug me, like a father would. You haven't seen your youngest daughter for so many years. And he didn't. It was just like a stranger. So I wanted to get away from them right away.
Right.
He wanted me to give him one of my daughters so him and the lady could raise her. But I didn't. I took her home with me.
You know, it's interesting. I've noticed that it's hard for people to say exactly what's happening in their lives. Mm-hmm. And you got to know that if you don't speak truth to your life, you're not going to get better. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting how they go around what it really is and say something else. And you're never going to be free if you can't be honest with yourself. And it's best to feel that moment of embarrassment so that you can go free, because it only lasts for a moment, rather than lying to yourself and not being honest with yourself so you can get instant freedom.
Right. So I don't have any feelings. I didn't know who our father was, but I guess I did yearn for a father when I seen other kids with their father.
Yeah.
You know, but I always shut that off. You know, I always, until recently, I'm starting to get feelings for my dad that he's dead now, and to forgive him.
Yeah, it's bad. It's hard hating your father.
But I couldn't even see I was hating him. I would say,
right.
I don't know him. I don't have no feelings for him.
Yeah. All children have feelings for their fathers. Now, they may bury that feeling with hatred, but it's there. It's like everybody yearns for the father. That's what it's all about, a father's love. And it's just, God made it that way, and nothing else worked but that. That's what it's all about. You know, it's so sad to hear this, because over the last 20 years, I've been hearing these stories over and over and over again. And every time, they don't have, the men and women don't have a good relationship with their fathers. They've been turned away. And I'm telling you, you're never going to have peace until you can love your father, because you're never going to be able to connect to God until you can love your fathers. And it doesn't mean you accept the wrongdoing. You recognize what they did wrong, but don't hate them for it, because you cannot love God, you cannot connect with Him and have that hatred for your father. It's just not going to work. And I think this is why a lot of people don't get over their anger, because when I was able to, when He caused me to forgive my mother and father, or father and mother, I no longer had that hatred for my dad at all, or my mother. And then He fulfilled me. He gave me, so I don't feel like I don't have love. And because I don't feel like I don't have love, I feel whole, I feel completed. There's nothing missing. So it allowed me to reconnect with God when I was able to reconnect with my father by forgiving him. And you can't skip over it. You can't go around it. If you gotta hate, and I don't recommend it for anybody, because God said we should honor our father and our mother. You know, your days will be long, you'll be wiser, you'll be healthier. But if you gotta hate, it may be best to just hate your mama. I'm saying if you gotta hate, you shouldn't hate either one. But because, and the reason I say it may be best if you just hate your mama if you gotta hate, because some people love hating, because at least by not hating your father, you got a way back to God. But if you stop hating your mother but don't stop hating your father, you're still going to be unhappy. Now, I'm not encouraging you to hate your mother either. You understand that? But I'm saying, since some people love to hate, if you got to hate, just hate your mama. Good men bring light into your life. They give you something to believe in. They bring hope into your life and everything. That's what men do. That's their role. That man is it. A righteous man is it. He is the light of the family. He is the light of the schools. He is the light of the church. But these men lights are being put out at such an early age in life that it's not happening anymore. And that's why we gotta turn them back to God so that light can come back into the earth. A kid can have an excellent relationship with her mother, his or her mother, and that kid will still yearn for the father. But that kid can have an excellent relationship with the father and not yearn for the mother. That doesn't mean they don't want to see their mother or don't, want, because, kids want their parents, adults want their parents. But that yearning is for the father, not the mother. I know you guys don't like hearing it. I got to put the truth out there. And I see a lot of witnesses. Let me go here first, and we'll come back. I like this conversation. I don't mind that you disagree, because we got to get some feedback so I can know that you don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm kidding. But it's not just because you're a man. It is the spiritual order ordained by God. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do with me being a male figure, but it's the way God ordained it to be. That's how he brings good into the world, into the family. He brought it through Christ. He allowed good to come in through Christ, and he allowed it to come through men. That the man is the source of good.
Well, then it's broken.
It's broken. And that's why we're talking about it right now, because it is broken, and we need to talk about it being broken. How did it get broken? What broke it? That's what you're absolutely right. It is broken, and all hell is breaking loose as a result of it being broken. Absolutely.
Who broke it? Well, you know, we gave birth. We gave your life.
No, but
Hello?
no, you didn't. She didn't break it. It was broken with Adam and Eve thing going on. That's when it was broken. But it's not her though. It's that spirit that she listened to. She listened to a different source rather than listening to her man. She used to listen to Adam, who loved what was right, and so that good would pass down to her too, on to the children. But when she disobeyed her husband and listened to the deceiver, that's why that source comes through her now. But if she didn't hate her man, her father, when she's growing up, if she wasn't taught to hate her father, then you're right. God forbid, if she had a child out of wedlock or something, she could raise that child with the same good that the man can if she was taught to love her father and not hate her father. You're absolutely right about that. But I can't find one on earth that has not been taught not to hate their fathers. I've looked up and down the earth. Now, that doesn't mean they don't exist. I got a lot more looking to do. But I look up and down the earth, and I haven't met one that didn't hate their fathers. Anybody met one that didn't hate their fathers? And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There are exceptions to all rules. You hear me saying that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There are exceptions to all rules. I don't think there's ever a 100%. Is there ever 100% one way? Right, not Earth. So there are exceptions to the rule. I'm just saying, I looked up and down the earth and I haven't found one yet. And I haven't had one to tell me, someone to say, well, I know women that don't hate their fathers, and brought them to me as a witness. So bring your witness. All right? But it can happen, and it should happen if we are honest about it. And in a few minutes here, I'm going to tell you how to just get over it so that even those women who didn't have fathers can stop hating, and then they'll raise their children with the same love that a man can raise them with that love. Right. But you never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever ain't going to do it when you hate your father. It ain't going to happen. You can pray until the cows come home. You can go to read the Bible until you know every scripture up and down. If you don't love your father, ladies and guys, you're never going to raise your children right. It's not going to happen, especially if you don't love your father. And it's not that he loved his dad more. It's just that he loves his dad. It's like a fulfillment to his spirit. Even with little girls, would be the same thing. But a lot of mothers, because that spirit that made a home in them is jealous of the Christ man, then they would get jealous if they see that the kids are drawing toward the father, and the devil would say, well, look, you spend all your time with him, you're doing this, and he loved the father more. And he's the one that tells the women that the kids love the father more, but it's not, the kids are not thinking, I love that, unless you'd have made them so mad they can see what's going on, right? But they're not naturally thinking, I love daddy more than I love mama. They're just spiritually being fulfilled by the love that comes through the father, as the wife should be. God tells the men to love their wives as Christ loved the church. And so men love their wives and children the way that God loved them. And there is no unfairness in that. There is no competition. It doesn't mean that the man is better than the woman. But it's that order. And if we as men love Christ, we can't help but love our women and children the way he loved. There's no other love to give but Christ's love to the family. So it's not a competition. It's just that his spirit is being fulfilled by the love of the Father, because the Father brings the love into the family. He is the source of love for the woman, for his wife, and his children. That makes sense? So, but the devil tells angry women that there's a competition. And so now the women start competing for the love of the children, end up destroying the children. Instead of appreciating it as she does, and then overcoming that so the whole household can become one. That makes sense?
Yes.
All right. I know this is hard because I see some ladies still shaking, but just think about it. You could throw it out the window, you can get rid of it and live your life as you please, but at least ponder it, have an open mind about it, and you'll see what I'm talking about is absolute truth. I didn't make this up. I'm telling you the truth about it. And I'm not saying they should hate their mama.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Don't
that.
hate anybody. Honor thy parents. And you can't honor your parents when you hate your parents. And it's not about what you give to them or do for them. It's simply don't hate them. So don't hate anybody, folks. But if you got to hate for the haters, if you got to hate one of the parents, hate the mama. So your soul can have a better chance of recovery. That's all I'm saying. I have met people who are comfortable in hating.
Yeah, it's a choice.
I really have, and I know that's hard to believe, but I literally have met people who are just fine with hating. They don't want to overcome.
Yeah.
And so to those people, I am saying, if you gotta hate the parent thing, you better just hate the mama. Don't hate anybody. You hear that? Everybody hear me saying that? Because I know people are gonna say, well, you said hate your mama. Don't hate either parents, but if you're a lover of hating, hate the mother so you'll have a better chance to overcome instead of hating your father. Thank you for tuning in. Next week we'll talk about how to get over the hate.